In Celtic's history, there have been lots of big moments. If asked to choose the most significant, it's unlikely that many Celtic fans would choose the 1889 Glasgow North Eastern Cup. But whilst this is clearly not the most famous victory that the Celts have had, it was the boys' first ever trophy, the first step on a journey of huge success. In Celtic's first season, they reached the finals of the Glasgow Exhibition Cup and Scottish Cup, as well as competing in the Glasgow Charity Cup. These achievements for a new club were phenomenal by the standards of the time, and soon led to Celtic being described as the already famous Celtic. However, the boys did not have any silverware to crown this maiden season. Their final opportunity came in the North Eastern Cup, a competition open to sides from north and east of Glasgow, including Rutherglen. Celtic's opening North Eastern Cup tie was held on the 28th of December 1888. The boys went to Rutherglen to play Clydesdale at Southcroft Park. A huge crowd, said to be the largest that ever lined the Clydesdale's ropes, watched as the Celts had an easy 5-1 victory. In the other first round fixtures, Northern and Shettleston won their matches. However, the other tie was more controversial. Cowlairs beat Thistle, but violence during the match meant a replay was ordered, which ended in a draw. Cowlairs eventually got through after the third game. In the semi-finals, Cowlairs faced Shettleston and the Celts were drawn to play Northern. Cowlairs had an especially easy task, winning 7-1 against the East Glasgow men. Celtic's match was held on St Patrick's Day weekend. One newspaper later referred to this, and one Celtic player specifically, by stating, "Socks, pawn tickets and shamrocks were kicking about the Celtic's pavilion on Saturday, in commemoration of Pat Gallagher's Day." On the 16th of March 1889, Northern, who were from the Springburn area, came to the original Celtic Park. The North Glasgow team went home disappointed. Newspapers later praised Celtic's exceedingly beautiful passing, and this helped the boys win 4-1 to reach the third final of their maiden season. 11th of May 1889 would prove to be an historic day in Celtic's history. The boys made the short journey to Barrowfield Park, Clyde's home ground, only around a mile or so from the modern-day Celtic Park. 8,000 crammed into the ground, and many had to turn home too. At 4 p.m, the match kicked off. One reporter stated that the Celts at the very outset showed that they were determined to take the cup from the Cowlairs, and within 15 minutes, the boys went ahead. They added 2 further goals to make it 3-0, but just before the break, Cowlairs pulled one back. The second half went much the same way as the first. 3 more Celtic goals ensured an emphatic 6-1 win for the green and white stripes. The boys' 6 goals came from Johnny Coleman, who grabbed 2, Willie Maley, Peter Dowds and Willie Groves. The first goal came from a corner and is sometimes credited to Gallagher, who took the kick. Post-match newspaper reports from the game provided some humour. One criticised a Cowlairs player's fitness, saying that he was the fattest back on the football field, and another noted that a Celtic fan bemoaned the match officials by saying, "Go on Celts, you can beat the ref and ah." Supporters of Celtic celebrated this maiden achievement, including in places that might seem surprising, given modern stereotypes. In describing post-match events, the Scottish referee newspaper said that, "Had a present of home rule been made to the distressful country across the way on Saturday afternoon, Irish Brigton could not have been more jubilant on Saturday night." In terms of official acknowledgement, a ceremony was held later in the month to mark Celtic's victory. On the 31st of May 1889, at Campbell's in Dunlop Street, near to the modern-day St Enoch Centre, a smoking concert took place. At this event, Celtic's achievement was celebrated, and badges, or medals, were given to the victorious players. Celtic paid for an additional 3 medals to be made for players that didn't play in the final but had contributed during the tournament. Celtic's first competition-winning 11, who wore the green and white stripes whilst writing their name into club legend, was McLaughlin, Dowling, McEwen, Maley, Kelly, McLaren, Gallagher, Dowds, Groves, Coleman and Dunbar. After the final victory, one newspaper recognised the club's charitable roots and wrote that, "If it were only for the good they have done to poor suffering humanity, the Celts have deserved better luck. But now they should remember that small beginnings make big endings." The North Eastern Cup is far from the biggest trophy the Celts have ever won, but for Celtic, this was where it all began, one part of achievements which continue to this day. If you want to learn more about Celtic's history, follow Hail Hail History on Twitter X. You can also take part in free Celtic history walks. Visit celticwalkingtours.wordpress.com to find out more.